Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another randomized gaming stream. I am your host, Random Gamer Riven, and in tonight's stream we will be looking at Dark Cloud on the PlayStation 2, which is... It kind of has a Zelda look, and it's got some elements, but it's probably a bit more of a mystery dungeon game. It has some elements of what I describe as ActRaiser as well, which is quite interesting as you build up your own village. So this is Dark Cloud. This was an early Level 5 entertainment game. Level 5 have of course gone on to make a lot of big titles in more recent years, but this is one of their early titles. I'll stop the attract looping now, seeing as it's already looped. Just check the options. But yes, an early level 5 game. So, whoops, hitting the mic there. So it was released initially in Japan in 2000. I think it got released over here in 2001. I think it was supposed to be a launch title, but got slightly delayed. It was published by Sony, and I think it's part of a trilogy of games Level 5 did in conjunction with Sony. So they did Dark Cloud, Dark Chronicles, which is known as Dark Cloud 2 in America, and Rogue Galaxy, which is also a very good action sort of title. I must admit, I really enjoyed Rogue Galaxies, even though Rogue Galaxies is a slightly bonkers scenario where you get attacked absolutely everywhere in game, including the towns as you walk around to chat and and chat to people, which is a bit crazy. Now, I'm playing the original PS2 version, but you can buy this on PS4 as well. Interestingly, this is one of the special PAL games where the PAL version runs at the same speed as the NTSC one, but it's using the PAL resolution, so it's displaying 480p in a 576 480i in a 576i window, which is a little bit of a downer. But with modern TVs and with the thing, so I've stretched it on my screen so it's nice and full screen, and I've adjusted it for you guys viewing as well. But yeah, it runs at the same speed as the NTSC version. I actually did a comparison with the NTSC version. I actually compared it with the PS4 version, and it's literally in sync almost the whole way through. The only thing I noticed on the PS4 version were they were slightly loader. It was slightly quicker loading in between certain sections. But this was basically a sort of an action RPG, Dark Cloud, and it was like one of Level 5's earlier games, so it's quite interesting. We're going to give it a whirl tonight. We're basically battling the Dark Genie, although it does have a little bit of never-ending story with the hero riding an animal at one point. I should say the character Toan does appear to resemble Link very, very closely, apart from the fact he's wearing a poncho, but his opening face design on it always looked a bit weird, the cover for this, because it literally looked like you were staring at Link because he's the same green turban. I suspect that was possibly very well deliberate. So you've got quite a few options here. We've got time progression, speedy clock display. This does actually have a sort of real-time thing. I'm keeping Rumble off as I absolutely loathe Rumble. We've got map density, display prominent enemies health. So yeah, we've got lots of soft options. It does actually look pretty nice, but as I said, this is the PAL version and it's running at 50 Hz, but it runs at the same speed as 60 Hz. So effectively the PAL version is the same as the NTSC version actually. It's one of these weird games that a lot of people would say, oh no, but it's not 60 Hz. It doesn't matter, the PAL version at 50 Hz is running at the same speed at 60 Hz. So that's something you actually mentioned, Nika. It's something I initially didn't realise on PS2, but yeah, it's an interesting one. And yes, hi to you, Nico. I know you're on stream there. We're just saying the unusual sharp textures, field rendering, depth of field, N64 far, unskippable repetitive animations with way too much detail. Yes. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I've not actually played it that much. I've literally really sat down and had a brief go earlier. This is one of those games you sort of picked up back when you had a PS2 for like £3 or £4. I mean, this was dirt cheap to buy. I think it's probably a bit more expensive now, but although it is still really cheap to buy on PS4, and that version's all nice and shiny as well. And here we go with the opening intro, although this will be a quick text overlay. I'm actually got a nice little... I'm using the blend filter on Open Broadcast Studio, so it should give you a nice broad feel. Weirdly, I've noticed there's a slight light bug at the top of the screen. It's showing a slight grey line. That is something Open Broadcast Studio is doing to the graphic for some reason. I'm not sure why. I actually looked through the graphic and was deleting the top section thinking it might be an art error on my part, but it wasn't. It was some other weird issue, so it's something to do with OBS. So a book was found in some old ruins. All the scholars who let's try it slightly more. How do you say senior voice? All the scholars who decoded it puzzled over the mysteries of the book. A world with 2 moons illuminating the sky. The many dazzling adventures of a young boy. But whether or not this is a true story, do you believe in the story woven in the book? Maybe it is a fantasy that exists only in a boy's heart. Let me tell you this story this ancient book tells of. A magical and magnificent fairy tale. And the hero of this wondrous tale, whose name is... So yes, here we go. We can name our hero. I'm going to leave him with the classic default name, so he's Toan. I'm using Blend 2, Nyko. It actually reduces the wobble I noticed Blend 2. Blend 2x. I was going through all the various interlacings. I have updated OBS to the most recent version, and I thought, well, I'll just try all the blendings. I noticed Blend 2 seemed to reduce the wobble the most and just smoothed things out, so it's very nice. I'll just let this cutscene play out now. And here are the villains. Yeah, I don't think I've played Overblood 1 and 2 that much, so I will actually have to look at them. I can't recall if anyone's got them on the team, so... So this villain has a look of a bit of a Dragon's Quest style enemy, I have to admit. Yes, that's one way to get rid of one of the villains. We've already had one of them munched up and gobbled. Okay, and finally we get into game. The opening intro is about 10 minutes long. Hi there, can you hear me? Open your eyes. Wake up. Hey! There's no actual voice acting in this. I don't know if there was voice acting in the Japanese version, but this one doesn't actually have much in the way of voice acting. Although sometimes that can be the better, as often the voice actors they got during this period usually weren't that good. The Dark Genie, yes. Many villages and towns were destroyed. Half of your world was annihilated. Yeah, the links between this and Zelda at the start are very, very similar. I mean, the genie even seems to be loosely based on Ganon's design, I have to admit. You could swap it around a bit and it's like, well, that looks vaguely like it's Ganon. I wonder if they initially pitched this as a Zelda concept to Nintendo and Nintendo said no. Obviously, the Fairy King's a bit of a gambler if he's stated our entire fate. He's like, oh, I think you look quite strong, so I'll give you this magical power. There, surprise. That's called Atla Manila. It's a stone with a magical power. This is no simple empty lot. This was your village. Yes, this is what's left of our village now. But fear not, as we can fix it. So he saved them all by stealing two magical spears called Atla. Do we think that's supposed to be Atlas? Atla, or we go with Atla? Yeah, it's interesting. If I'm being honest, Level Design had made a lot of very good games. I think Dragon's Quest, they were very good at making a Dragon's Quest. Nothing they've actually made has ever been truly phenomenal. Even games like Ni no Kuni, which I really enjoyed, was a deeply flawed game that suggests their games design is not at the pinnacle Level 5. They're missing that spark to take them to the truly phenomenal stage of leveling. Something like Ni no Kuni was poorly balanced. That should have been a perfect game, but they couldn't get the balancing right on that. But this is actually a very lovely looking game, Dark Cloud. Toan, can you hear me? You should be able to hear them. Voices of the wind, voices of the trees, voices of the animals. Yay! So like Soleil, I do like the Western music as well, and the voices of for your help. So Nolan Village. Select edit mode. So this, I believe, has the ability to... Rule number 1 about RPGs, always save as soon as you can. That way if anything goes wrong, then... And also always have more than one save file, although I'm probably not going to do that in tonight's stream. Probably stick with the one. So we have the village of Nolan, or what's left of it. This does actually have a real-time night and day system, I noticed as well, so... So big keyhole, use items. It definitely has that sort of Dreamcast era PS2 games. And certainly you said it has an early PS2 era feel. Or it has a bit of a Dreamcast era feel as well. It certainly gets the early Dreamcast and PS2 games often looked quite rough around the edges compared to the sort of much later things you saw on the Cube and the Xbox. I'm always interested to know what Dreamcast games could have been had they developed them for a few extra years, although the Dreamcast was quite underpowered, which was going to be an issue. So we're shaking our head. We can't do much at the minute. It does change between night and day, this game, so... Cave key acquired. Okay, so we know where we're headed. I put the things you might need in your bag for you. Don't get carried away. When you get in trouble in there, come back here. I'll give you more supplies. So the chieftain's going to be giving us supplies at least at the start. So I suppose it breaks you into the game quite easily, I see. Now our only hope is Dran. Dran has always watched over us. I'm sure Dran has watched us this time too and will help us. If I'm not mistaken, we came in through that door, but... What was the... So equipped... We have a dagger. Allies. Okay. Toan, so we've got different allies as well in the game. Geometry. Go outside is actually an option rather. Oh, you can actually active. Yeah, I think had the generation kicked off, the Dreamcast, had the Dreamcast survived its initial run, I think it would have run into problems because I think the Dreamcast itself was too underpowered compared to the GameCube, the Xbox, and the PlayStation 2. Adventure Day 1 Dusk, okay. So we actually have the different times of day in this. Quite nice. I assume that clock in the right corner is giving me the times of day and where I need to head. Strangely, the music is giving me a vibe of Wild Arms as well. Oh, your WHP, so you have weapon HP. So I can escape from a dungeon. You have quite a big inventory as well. Divine Beast Cave. So I think this is an element of a mystery dungeon game about it, so it's going to be an interesting mix. It's not a straight... If you're expecting a Zelda clone, prepare to be heavily disappointed. This is not a Zelda clone. Oh, it's the Fairy King again. First, conquer this wretched Divine Beast's cave and find Dran's lair. That's your first goal. Since you're a beginner, I'll give you a lesson on how to fight in the dungeon. I wonder if this is a if hack borrowed elements from this. Rand's chest will be the gate key. Contact me via your mind. Does that mean we can basically have a magic spell? I quite like the imaging here. Mind connect. Just select leave dungeon from the main menu. So that's quite nice. You can leave dungeon at any point. Oh, I forgot to mention, in fact, I'll show you in the options. In such cases, use the IC, so you have to clear the floor. So it's a mystery dungeon game in some respects, but obviously the dungeons you can keep going back and forth through the floors. I'm assuming they're not randomly generated. The more you use a weapon, the more it will wear, and finally it will break. Broken weapons will disappear. When breaking, use the item repair powder. It will restore their weapon HP. Thus becomes stronger. Okay, I see. It said that when a weapon reaches its full strength, it can change to a more powerful form. Keep that in mind. Does that mean we've just got to level up the dagger, as that's the... during the quest will display once, so be careful. That means the dagger is going to be the best weapon. Okay, so we've got to look for those fragments. Here it goes. Yeah, people tend to hail how the Dreamcast had more video RAM and could have nicer resolutions than it lagged behind. Yeah, having higher resolutions don't help if you can't have anywhere near as many polys. It means you'll have high resolution but low poly environments, which doesn't help. In fact, high resolution is probably the least thing you want. You actually want to be able to have more detail and textures. Okay, this is an Italian already, isn't it? Yes, that's an Atlas. Sign acquired. Okay. Will I be your pity weapon? Yeah, or you'll be upgradable to become the best weapon in the game. Zasha. Okay, so obviously this is going to be one we have to explore everything in the floor and get all of these Atlas balls. Macho's house acquired, okay. I assume Macho is a character. I know you have like an overlay where you start building the world, so I'm guessing that's going to be interesting fun. Okay, and already I'm feeling that same pacing point I made about Ratchet and Clank. How I could really do with a run button. Whoa. Dude, that's not good. Why is... Yes, that was a terrible start. It just threw me down a pit. Yes, very bland corridors. I'm wondering if that curve's not smooth. Now either that's an interlacing issue or that's they've done something weird for these sequences in POW. Because none of those curves should all be smooth, and they're not. They have slightly weird edging. That's normally something you'd see with bad POW optimization. You can stop. Nope, I've bugged out. My character's just walking like... Obviously this intro... I did see someone say this intro was bugged and he would constantly walk. The manual is acquired. So he's leaving the world reconstruction to me. I'm just going to heal up first. I assume I can heal at... Okay, so he kindly refills the manual. I feel I should actually clear the floor before going back. Does this actually have 6 different playable characters then? You actually get healed upon death, okay. That's interesting, no, so you can't actually die in this game, I take it. Yes, this does remind me a bit of Zelda. The only thing it's missing is the dreadful fog. But yeah, the pacing is definitely a bit sluggish, which is an issue, as I mentioned in the Ratchet and Clank stream, is an issue that a lot of early 3D games had. And games like Zelda Ocarina of Time had the pacing really bad with 3D. Can't jump either, so I literally... Now, does this dungeon change every time? Yes is the answer to that. Yeah, I wonder if you get beaten by a boss, whether that doesn't look too healthy, that thing. Ocarina of Time is one of those games that is... I absolutely loathe it because it was a poor man's A Link to the Past. The overworld travelling around is slow, sluggish. It basically took a really good game like A Link to the Past and basically remade it not particularly very well. Okay, so I've been poisoned. That poison drain is incredibly... Majorico's Mask was a much better game. Should I tempt fate and stand on this thing? Yes, it's fun. Pumped with energy. Okay, so that's a good thing. Yeah, the Ocarina of Time has pretty bad pacing, I have to admit. It gets a lot of... My slight gripe with it is the fact it gets a lot of people saying how wonderful it is, but really it's my first Zelda game. Okay, we can jump in that, can we? Okay, I'm guessing that's to the next floor, that key. But it's one of those games that had a lot of pacing issues. This, yes, so this has very bland corridors, I will admit. This reminds me a lot of Dot Hack, actually. Dot Hack is very similar to this. Oh, that's why you need water as well. Oh wow, your water depletes really quickly. That's... Dagger's ABS is full. You can now upgrade it. Okay. Dagger +1. Okay. And it probably wants a repair as well. Okay, so the weapons do wear down very quickly. Actually, I'll let that a bit longer. Yeah, I agree a lot with that sentiment, although I just feel Ocarina of Time adds in a lot of really quirky bits that the Zelda franchise didn't need, all the silly sound effects like So that's the floor down. So I've got to keep an eye. Yeah, you can't traverse that far into dungeons in this. What did I just get? I see every hit drains the... Every time I hit something with the dagger, it drains the dagger's attack value. But yeah, technically this is a rogue dungeon. The fact this dungeon's already changed the once. And we've got another dasher. Okay, and just to annoy you, it has this weapon thing, just basically like has a similar sound. So we need... But my water's pretty limited as well, so I'm not going to be able to explore that far. Yeah, I never liked Ocarina of Time. I found it the pacing's all over the place. It's basically a poor man's remake of A Link to the Past, which was an issue, I think, with a lot of the game's design of Ocarina. Ocarina has a lot of problems that weren't ironed out. In fact, a lot of the problems were brought into the later 3D Zeldas. It's a franchise that, when you play A Link to the Past, you have so much creative and sub-elements going on, so much background things that are really missing in the later Zelda games. Link's Awakening as well also does some very creative things, and a lot of the later Zeldas just never seem to replicate that. Okay, I do hope that wears out as I'm going to have to run. Don't have a healing item on me. Acquired lamp. What's antidote? What's that? Magical crystal. Okay, back to the surface we go. So yes, this has a rogue dungeon element. Yes, I was just going to grab that and go. But yeah, you pretty much have to leave pretty... I was hoping to get that back before it got me, but never mind. So I think we got everything from that floor now, so I'm going to start building. At least, but yeah, I grabbed it just before I got taken out. The question is, do items like the map and stuff remain? Okay, so this is where I can start building up the town. So geometry. So we've got Macho's house. And Macho's house can't go in the back there. Yeah, a lot of rogues do that. Some don't do it too badly. Some don't have the hunger meter at all, and some give you a very lenient hunger meter. This seems to give you quite a not so lenient hunger meter. The fact you can't finish the first floor before you have to go back to the surface is not a good idea. Okay, so Macho, like his name, never skips training. How do I place Macho? So should I be linking this up? Okay, so how do I get rid of something? Okay, well at least we've got a nice little water. Bread acquired. Okay, can I place Macho in here? Is this... Oh, I see. Move, remove. So there I can... you know, I'm actually going to move this closer to the... Oh, that's really irritating. Ah, because I can... So let's add a road. Kind of want a road going up to the chieftain's place, don't you? Let's add some trees. I quite like the way you can build your own town in this. This does remind me a lot of ActRaiser and how you could build your own town in that, but at this you get a 3D thing, which is quite nice. So I can place Macho's house, but I can't place Macho. Why can't I place Macho? Adventure Day 2 morning. Assemble Geomorama parts in edit mode, not here. Oh, I see. I don't know what goes here. Yeah, obviously you have to put those particular pieces on the various... Yeah, I'm guessing that's... We don't have Macho. Let's just say, still we've got a nice little start to the town. I don't even say how many times you've been back to the village. Right, let's venture forth. Spend about 5 minutes in the dungeon and then come out back out again. Yes, I would agree with that sentiment. The menu isn't great. The navigation's not as smooth and clean as it could be. I see your weapon. That's interesting. I only killed the one enemy and yet I could already leave, but I assume there were more enemies in the... Okay, so I think I've got to get everything back from the chief. Obviously your thirst does not reset. I actually want to see. So you can't build in that back corner there. I'll just build a quick. Okay, so I was hoping to turn that into a lake. You can't do that. There's some weird... There's definitely some weirdness with how the layouts go, so... 2 of 5. Obviously, you can only build... Maybe I should leave some of that till after we've got a few more people, but... Yeah, thirst not resetting is a bit odd. That should reset. There's a nice little running water sound effect there. The music obviously only plays during the day as well. The day, afternoon, dusk. Right, so if the floor design can be a bit weird. So the first time we did a random pit. I've played quite a few mystery dungeon games, so generally they can be a bit of a mixed bag. As mentioned, I don't think there's thirst. Some games have sort of thirst or some depleting sort of energy or stamina meter. That one I'm not so keen on. I really enjoyed Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. They were really good, those ones. Bread acquired. Okay, so I'm getting a few. By the way, he holds his hands together to make a little X. Oh, tram oil. Take the tram. So where is this going to take me? Is this going to take me to a new floor in the dungeon, or a different area? B1 back. Okay. Like I was just saying, they were some tough enemies. One of them, I think, nearly... So, upgrade. With hunger meters, yeah. But I think Pokemon Mystery Dungeon did it a lot more subtle with how the progression went in all the sub-dungeons. Mystery Dungeon, the original Mystery Dungeon, is a really, really good game. Really, really good. But I suppose that was done by, I think that was done by Toan, who had made all the earliest SNES and whatnot Mystery Dungeon games, so they were getting very experienced by that point. But already we actually can go, so we basically have backside dungeons, and we can go down lower. Skeleton Soul. These enemies here are nastier as well, I think. Again, my thirst is already getting low. Yeah, man. Spike tuning, yeah. So there's nothing in here. You really are quite the resources drain really quickly in this. Your thirst meter and the weapons are sort of almost Breath of the Wild. Everything breaks like a twig. You have a Master Sword that you can swing about 3 hits before it breaks, which is just ridiculous. Ruby acquired? Have you played Dark Chronicles, can I ask, Nico, or Dark Clouds 2 as it was called in the US? I mean, I've only briefly played that one, but I'm just wondering, how does this compare to this one? Is it very similar? Does it have similar systems? Is it a better game than this? This definitely has that old PS1 game, sort of late PS1 game feel. The Master Twig, Higgins, Straw. Yeah, that Breath of the Wild is. Breath of the Wild's an interesting Zelda game. It's got some great ideas, but it's basically a Zelda game with no content in it. I got poisoned. I've never played a game so big with nothing to do in it. Yeah, I'll definitely stream the sequels at some point. This is one of the trilogy of games. I played Rogue Galaxy quite a way into it, actually. So there's Rogue Galaxy, there's this, and then there's Dark Chronicles, although Dark Chronicles for some reason was renamed in the US as Dark Cloud 2, even though it's not. Well, I suppose you could argue it is a sequel, but it's not a direct sequel. But sequels don't have to have the same characters as the previous game. They're meant to just have the same mechanics. Okay, well, we've got everything from this. Take the tram. You have this weird sort of slightly Western feeling music, and we've got a sort of action RPG. So it's kind of an interesting take on it. Right, you really have to be careful with those bats. If I get poisoned now, I'm not going to be healing. Those bats are very dangerous at this point because you only have the one health item. So if I lose it, at least the weapons upgrade quickly. That was a weapon. Stand-in powder acquired. Okay, so the magical crystal shows you everything. My dagger is already ahead of that, so you make a good point. Why don't the weapons upgrade automatically? I can only assume there might be some changes to the weapon system later where you can pick elements or aside what's going to appear on them, so there might be a reason, but yeah, you would kind of expect them to upgrade automatically unless there's a way to influence the upgrades. So I have no idea what Curse does. There are definitely a few odd mechanics in this, I will say. Getting thirsty. To use the escape powder to escape. Right, so let's see if I can actually get down to the second floor of this dungeon. So we explored 2 floors. Appreciate the likes, guys. Very much appreciated if you're watching this stream. Please do consider hitting that like button, although I expect you've probably already hit it, Naiko, so we don't have too many people on stream at the minute. But it's just nice to show a game like this off. How are you guys liking this new stream format? Are you liking this sort of borders and stuff? It definitely cleans it up and just makes it a bit look nicer, I think. Okay, so yes, first does not regenerate, which is an odd one. Neither does weapon strength, so I might as well just upgrade it, restore my weapons, and then speak to him again to get... So it's kind of annoying the weapons don't repair automatically when you get back to town, it seems. Or at least it should be a character you can go to I suppose you can go to him to repair. But yeah, it definitely looks nicer, the interface, I think. I have done a widescreen version as well, so... But yeah, it cleans it up. I know some people like the chat in, I would include it, but having checked the changes to YouTube's guide policy, we've decided that we'll take the chat out of the streams just as a precautionary measure, unfortunately. But based on the guideline changes, YouTube were a bit woolly, but it was suggested that if someone says something inappropriate in chat, then you would have to remove monetization and a few other things as well, because your video could technically then violate guidelines if someone says it in chat even if it's not you. And while we do have... Oh, I see, so the magic crystal spots are the enemies, and while we do actually have blocks on certain words in the chat, you can't be sure what someone's going to say and things like that. And there may be people who say something and just get round the swear filter, which is pretty easy to do if you say things like use a space in between words, so if you were to space a word or something. So the crystal gives you the map locations. I want to try and get down to the floor this time. These bats are really annoying because if they hit you, pumped with energy. Yeah, you're right, you can misspell it right, just change a slight letter. Or even just put hyphen. If you hyphenate a word, I suspect it will crop up. Crystal knife, ooh. That looks quite promising. That is very... So that has... Okay, that's a much better weapon. I don't want this to break for certain. So it's not... I wouldn't call this a fast-paced RPG, but it certainly got into the action far quicker than Persona 5, which would still... Oh... Still need to get through the first dungeon in Persona 5. I started that and it just I managed, you go through the first dungeon about 3 or 4 times before you finally get to do it properly. And now that I'm finally doing it properly, it's taken so long to get there, I'm just like... It's one of those games I'm really surprised the amount of people go, oh, it's the best RPG ever, and I'm like, no, I can think of a lot better ones that are a lot betterly paced. Oh wow, okay, this floor is... This is a dream floor. We can restore thirst and health. The only thing would be weapon damage. So those big chests obviously give you weapons. So we've got the map. That's what this is. Oh, we got 2 springs. I'm liking this floor this time. Yeah, so one of the things I don't like about rogue dungeon games is that they can sometimes be brutally hard with the random generation, or they can also be very lenient. So you can get, sometimes you can literally get a playthrough that's incredibly easy because you get all the luck, and other times you can get a playthrough you haven't got a chance, a snowball's chance to finish. Right, does this cure me of poison, the spring? And does it wear off after time? We'll find out. But yeah, it's quite irritating, that one, because if you get hit by it... So if I do that on this stream, it'll probably turn into a blurry mess when Google does it later on. I do think the rooms are a little bit bland. They could probably do slightly smaller corridors, I will admit. No, that's not running out. Items. Okay, we've got the stuff. Let's venture on. So I've just healed up. Let's venture down into the next floor. I like the fact you can go back to all the floors. That's something a lot of mystery dungeons won't let you do. A lot of mystery dungeons you have to the next floor. Let's brave the deep below. Exclamation mark. Oh, we've got a cat in there. Yeah, you might be right there. They've designed it in a way the camera won't get stuck. That thing is very nasty. Right, you really got to watch those bats. If they get you, you are... Magical crystal. Such wide locations, yeah. So Komahachi, whoever he is, or she is, or whatever it is. Wheel, okay. So we've got add-ons for a couple of the items. So this is going to be a weapons chest. What weapon am I going to get? The bone rapier. You've got quite a few weapons in this. Bone rapier. Attack 15. Okay, I quite like this, but I'm already seeing I'm getting better weapons. So this is a game where you can like customize every single weapon in the game, because that's going to be quite interesting. But yes, I'm definitely liking this. This is definitely very good. I did really enjoy Hack as well. This reminds me a lot of Hack, actually. Okay, brilliant. I've got the map. Okay, that wasn't so good. That decreased. I've not actually played Galarian, either of them. That was a real negative. That actually decreased. So some of those things that absolutely destroyed my weapons top HP. Okay, so some of those it might not be worth running over then. It might not be worth the risk if it's going to damage your best weapons. Okay, the bridge is acquired. I'm quite annoyed about that. That's badly damaged. I assume the character can increase your weapon's HP. Old gaffer acquired. Okay. The annex room acquired. So do I need to... I assume you need to get certain accessories. Dragon's Quest card, and I need to heal up. Yeah, there's two of them. I've not actually played either of them on the PS1, so I should actually try it. There's quite a lot of games that I'd say are in the... They have issues, but what you have under is a really great game in the sort of rough. There's a sort of the old diamond in the rough. There are quite a lot of games that have that issue where they just feel a bit unpolished here, just a bit things, you know, that they had the right idea, but the execution's just not quite right. What in tarnation? Right, is everybody happy? A present from the Happy Clown. Choose whatever you like. Choose the big box, choose the small box. Let's go for choose the big box. Chopper acquired. Thank you, Mr. Happy Clown. Oh, wow. So you can build up weapons to new. Yeah, I remember you saying there's a few. How is the Galaxian Power version totally messed up then? Did they screw up the 50-60 Hertz or something on it? I've got a really powerful weapon. Yep, I need to use Thirst. Still have the bat. Got it. Is this going to be the bone key? Because there are a few games that did get some awful power conversion, especially a few that they end up doing the ghosting. I remember you saying one of the devil summoners was totally broken in power because it adds in the ghosting. I know Resident Evil Code Veronica on Dreamcast is a woeful thing and adds in the ghosting, and they even took out the VGA mode on the Dreamcast version. The Dreamcast version of Code Veronica is how not to convert a game to PAL. I've actually been trying GSM quite a bit the last few days. I've been trying the various games with GSM, but they've been a bit of a mixed bag how good they look, I have to admit. Some look really nice, but most of them a lot of them have issues. A lot of the resolutions GSM can force games into don't seem to work properly either, which is a weird one. So obviously just about every location has a front and a back side, but you don't obviously always get the you don't obviously get the oil to visit the back side. I don't think I can visit the... I obviously need the tram oil, and there's none to be found in this. Really actually glitch out. Ooh. That might occur with every version. I'm aware of a few games that had just crippling bugs. Yeah, I don't actually have the item. I don't have the item to visit the backside of you need the oil, but the oil seems a bit random if you get it or not. It seems every floor has a backside. Oh, it's the Fairy King again. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. On this, it's weirdly, it's often you'll get games with quite serious bugs that are not particularly well documented. Case in point, Skeleton Warriors on the Sega Saturn. I now know for sure that every single PAL version is misprinted, and a number of the music tracks don't work in game correctly. So if you have Skeleton Warriors, the PAL version, it's something like tracks, I can't remember. It's like it's like 9 tracks 9 to 17 are just a static noise. Okay, the more advanced tutorials. So see, first is the lock on. You already know that pressing locks onto monsters. Already know that pressing circle. No, I didn't know pressing circle locks into monsters. Yeah, it sounds like there's quite a few PS2 games with bad optimizations, especially because there are quite a few Japanese studios that did not know how to properly optimize their games at the time. And really, Sony of Europe should have been much better at having codes to provide to help out for developers that have trouble with that. I mean, it's a bit like there are a couple of weird bugs on the also are on blocks. On the Sega Saturn, a couple of games. So an example, it's well known, there's probably a few more, but Firestorm Thunderhawk 2 and Golden Axe the Duel, if you have the 3D controller equipped plugged into the Saturn, when you load, both will crash back to the BIOS after the Sega logo. And another example of other things is Croc and Wiz. Both of them display bugs if you boot the game from a cold start. You have to actually boot the game from the BIOS screen. So when it comes to Sega Saturn, it's actually always best to boot games from BIOS screens. The BIOS screen, once it's let it load into the BIOS and then boot, because a couple of games, if you boot from a cold start, actually have issues. Not sure why that is, but that's a really weird mechanical issue if that does happen. But yeah, I think there's probably a few. I mean, there's an awful lot of games that got PAL conversions that were a bit dicey, so I'm interested. Square Enix were never very good at converting games into PAL format, that's for sure. In the PS1, literally all their games are just raw 50 Hz. Right, so next time I'm going to get back to town, hopefully, statue. Ooh. Okay, that sword is really very helpful. Yeah, it'll be the dev teams of certain publishers. A lot of the Japanese developers really didn't know how to do good quality European games, because at the time when we came to like the PS2 and PS1, because like Capcom didn't have an internal division in Europe, I think, until the PS2 era, so a lot of their games were ported by other companies up until that point. Right, I'm thirsty, so I think it's time to head out. Have I got anything? I actually repair my best weapon. I'm going to head back to the surface. Ah, you can change character in this, so that's what... Let's leave dungeon. Do you want to use the escape powder? Yes. I should say for this stream, I very slightly just cropped off like the top and bottom pixels. Just so you don't see the jitter that the open source scan converter does. Yeah, I suspect Inex may have had better people who could do the conversions. Right. So you ventured deep into that dungeon and got... I'm going to hopefully... I have a feeling I need to do the B side for that other section, because I think there was... I think there were parts in the B side, weren't there? So... Yeah. Ah, geometry parts. Is this where I put them? But yeah, Squaresoft were definitely... Midas and Ghost, like, yeah, a lot of them, I think, owns the local shop. Ah, I see. Okay, so it's actually the shape of various slot. I see, so... Yeah, the actual editing menus for this are a bit... Next to geometry analysis, collection, complete request. Config, assembler. So Claudia's house, I can put the fence in. I can put the lamp in. Smells like food. Okay. No, I'll try to put the wrong character. Ah, that's why it was those slots there. I wasn't thinking straight with Macho. So there's his brother, Camacho. Slot for sitting upstairs. I thought the barbells would have to go in the Macho Bros. So if I'm correct now. Okay, yes. Night Nico, thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you being here, bud. It's certainly a very interesting little game, so I will keep playing away for a bit longer as we build up. Appreciate everyone who's been on stream. Thank you very much for your time. We are still looking at Dark Cloud on the PlayStation 2. This is the original PlayStation 2 version, although we do have it available on the PS4, and it is available on the PS4. We started to. It's quite nice the fact you can assemble your town, so definitely reminds me of ActRaiser, that, and it's nice to actually be able to. So I'm actually going to repair. So repair. Weapons again. See, so I can actually attach abilities to the weapons. This one is quite a way above. Ah, yes, it gives it attributes as well, so that's quite nice. 39 of 60, and that's claiming it's a full bar. Okay. I see. So obviously if you get your weapon to certain criteria, you can then build it up. So obviously the base dagger. You can't actually have that many weapons either, so I have got to be a bit careful later on. So my first is refreshed. Just actually save it, seems like. I might revisit the second floor and see if I can get some oil, or maybe I'll push ahead. No, I think I'll push ahead for now. It'll be nice to get some more oil to explore the various floors. I haven't been in this house. Is there any items here? Put some items into the house, but alas, the occupant is not here. Okay, speed +2 acquired. I mean, it does have a feel of an early PlayStation 2 game, but it is a very well put together title. I think Level 5 largely, although I think they've struggled to make truly phenomenal games because they always seem to get one or two elements wrong in their titles, and I think that's been an issue across the whole history of their games. Level 5, they do make good titles, and they make great titles, they're just not exceptional. One minor criticism I do have is this character does feel like Link with a poncho on. Toan, he does feel a bit like he's a bit too much like Link. I think he could have had a bit more of his own character feel to him. Okay, fantastic. We've got a spring on this floor this time, so that means we just need to come back here every time. Statue dog. Oh, that is an awesome enemy. See the thunder element on the sword there with the attack as well, so actually upgrading the swords. There's quite a nice mechanical system for upgrading the swords in this. So yeah, as mentioned before, having a stream in a stage makes navigating a floor a lot easier. Plus with the sound effects, you do sound like Link with the E. Very similar. Now upgrade it, yes. Weapon. I see that adds in the attributes. So any attributes at the end of a level will be so we just start to build it. So I think so that one I need MP 16, 51 and 31 attack. To work on attack, speed, and MP. So yeah, you don't always get the oil for the trams, which is quite irritating. I assume you might be able to get them later on. But it does mean you can't visit the backside of every location unless you literally farm for the oil. Let's head down to the next floor. Just repaired my sword. I've just healed up my thirst pretty good as well, seeing as I just had a spring, so... And it's going to be boss time. Okay, this looks like it's going to be a bit like a musical game fight now, you know, with the old press at the right time. Oh, you've got to wait till the fight starts. Okay. Unfortunately, that doesn't look too good for poor Toan there. No, the defeat animation looked like I had my head detached from that sword strike, but they didn't show. Power up pilot. That instantly powers me up, that power up powder. That's quite nice to know. Okay, we'll tally forth into the dungeon. So I assume this is going to be the end of the dungeon where we meet Dran. So I'll be quiet for a bit and let the cutscenes and everything play out. Okay, so you can use a charge attack. Ah, there it goes. Nice of the game to tell me that now. And also that you can basically create uber powerful weapons. Based on what I saw there, you can basically create incredibly powerful weapons if you merge them, multiple weapons into synth spheres one after the other. That's actually quite an interesting system. Very similar to, well, it's basically similar to the materia system, isn't it, from Final Fantasy VII? But yes, you can actually create uber powerful weapons. Okay, so back in the village placing more stuff, as you can see there. Let's just see what I've got now. So I've got old Gaffer's place. So can we chat to old Gaffer? Yes, we can do. Ooh, more chest. Speed +1. And it's gone today after. So I'm on my 3rd day, afternoon 3. Fluffy donut. Can't wait to open the shop again. Tell me about how to... Put the signs on the buggy's roof, on the carpet so they won't get soiled. Okay, can I add? Oh, I see. Yes, so you have to speak to them to realise what items they need. That's interesting. So old Gaffer's buggy is now ready to go. So we've got everything back for old Gaffer. Oh, Tolan's favourite food increases defence. Aha! Nice. All the weapons here, ability. So just do some inventory stock and then I'll do the event. And we have another house event, so that's 2 houses I've completed. Whoa, Tolan, you've done it! Stonebreaker acquired. And some interesting brotherly rivalry there we have. Attack +1 acquired. And the 2 brothers seem to have disappeared for a bit, obviously, while they settle their dispute. Appreciate the likes, everyone watching. Glad to see you're always enjoying these streams. Visually, the music's actually very enjoyable. Visually, it's good. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the best PS2 looking game. This is definitely an early PS2 game. It looks sort of high-end Dreamcast, early PS2. So, but it does look pretty decent. Obviously, it tells me how many enemies I've defeated. I'm guessing on each floor. So I'm up to B6 in the Divine Cave. The floors are certainly quite big. I will. I didn't think it'd be as... I thought this opening dungeon would actually be a bit shorter. It's the cat again. Combat's your fairly standard hack and slash. I mean, it's nice you got the charge attack, but because that takes so long to charge up. Is there any real indication of when it's not really clear? The speed thing's a bit weird as well. It's not clear. It just sort of depletes when you swipe. Otherwise it brings the sort of end of a combo, but I do like the upgrade system. That's quite quite straightforward. The fact you put the elements into it and then upgrade each weapon, although you can only put in 2. Okay, that's the door to the next floor. That's always nice and handy. I haven't been able to go to the back sides too often. I've only had pretty rare to encounter the oil actually. Yep, should have tributes, build up, customize. Kindatsu. Hello, Ninhonjin. I think apologies, my Japanese is not very good. This is Dark Cloud on the. I believe it's Dark Cloud in Japan as well. But hello, apologies. I'm not sure of your name, but hello. Is it Hayo Gizaimo? Oh, hello. I'm not sure if you'll. I'll just see if I Google translate that name, see if I can. I think it's Hello Key. Dark Cloud. Yes, Dark Cloud is very fun. It's a very good game. I'm playing the PlayStation 2 version on the actual PlayStation 2 at the minute, but we do have it on PlayStation 4. It's actually the first time I've really spent time with it, despite having copies. I mean, Level 5 have made a lot of very good games over the year, but I've never. This is not one of the Level 5 games I've actually played that much. Oh, my house! Ah, we can actually get our house back. It's a very well put together game. I'm still not visually. It's not too bad. It's has dated a little bit. The music's still very good. And if you're a fan of mystery dungeon games or rogue dungeons, then it's definitely well worth seeking out. It's cheap to buy on the PlayStation 4 as well. I think the PS2 version might be a bit more expensive these days. It's one of those games I'm glad it's actually had a re-release. Yes, they are very helpful, those spars. And the classic mimic enemy. Lots of games. That seems to be a classic enemy of most RPGs. Ah, the mystical crystal acquired. Okay, so that shows me where the enemies are. Where the items are. I've not had many cans of oil, so I've not been able to go to the trolley side that often. Use the trolley to go to the sort of dark side of each area. I'm playing the PAL version, which I think had a few adjustments to the Japanese version. I think they fixed a few bugs with the Japanese version in the PAL one. I think I saw somebody mention that one of the characters is incredibly overpowered in the Japanese version. Okay, now I'm not going to go near that because that could damage my weapon, and I don't want that to happen. It could reduce the permanently reduce the stamina on it. And I want to, seeing as I'm developing this weapon, I don't want to lose the stamina on it, so I won't walk on that upgrade. I want Toan to keep his best weapon. Yes, it's actually a really interesting system. I've not played this too much before, so I've not used the attachment system that much before, but it is actually very interesting, and it does work really well. The fact you can customize weapons how you want, and then you can continue to upgrade them, so that's really very different to conventional RPG systems. So it gives you the freedom to customize the weapon how you want, just basically exactly how you want, whether you want to go for fire, sword. So it's much more in depth than a lot of other games because you choose how you want your sword to go rather than something which is quite more linear with the upgrade system. Called limited zones. A special ceiling magic is cast so that your normal actions are disabled. Actions are limited, depends on the type of limited zones. Hi Key, yes, we do have a lot of Japanese games. In fact, We're actually Sega Saturn fans, so we've collected an awful lot of Sega Saturn. I've got quite a big Japanese Super Nintendo collection. We do actually, here at Randomised Gaming, have a lot. If you look at our channel, we actually have a huge mix of games that are European exclusive, North American exclusive, and Japanese exclusive. So we have a big mix. We actually like to play games from all over the world. But yeah, we do have a lot of Japanese games on the channel. And I must admit, my personal preference is for Japanese games, so Capcom, Squaresoft, Nintendo, Sega. Limit zones. I've not seen a limit zone before. The back zones you need to get the oil for, but I've not seen the oil around too much. Using a weapon reduces abs. Okay, my movement is being hampered by... I think he actually injured me. Okay, so this is actually getting... There's some quite interesting tech... No, run away, run away. Now, I haven't had much rusty tram. You need the oil for the rusty fish bait. I don't have any oil, annoying. I've only had one oil, so that to get to the back floors is actually quite tricky. Because you need, in this floor, you need the oil for the trams, but I've only had that item once. Yes, I do know Valkyrie Profile. I actually have the Japanese version on PS1 and I have the PSP version. So PlayStation, PS1 and PlayStation PSP. It's a very good RPG and I've played the sequel on PlayStation 2. The music is very good. It's by... So I probably should actually stream a few more of the Square Enix and Squaresoft games. I see, I have the goo perk on me at the minute. Oh. Nolan Village. Okay, Nolan Village. Gotta be careful there. Don't... I think at the minute we keep going back to the surface, but I noticed from one of the items, old gaffer's cell, obviously. So while I'm back, I got our house, didn't I? So... So let's build back up the village. Okay, so important. Yeah, I probably should play the Valkyrie profiles more, but it's always a very good series, the Valkyrie profiles. I am a big RPG fan. I do play a lot of RPGs, but that's one series I have them, but I'm quite guilty of owning games and not actually playing them. So we've got round wooden things. Some things it's in. That looks like. Oh, so that's the barrel. Paige's father, good at physical labour, so... Okay, that's Claude's house finished as well. Ah, we've got the pond as well. I'm just debating if I should put the pond there. Now, should I build a bridge? I'm just debating how to build this out. Bread acquired. Oh, we've got one of the characters over there. The draw distance could be slightly better for this one. Oh, is that... That's your mother. This does remind me a lot of ActRaiser as well, with the town building. The morning sun coming from the upstairs. Yeah, level 5 made a lot of good games. I haven't actually played the Yokai Watch games. I've seen them. They're big in Japan. We have actually got a few of them out over here now. It's the 3DS. They were on the 3DS. Okay, so have I... Is it... See, can I build config? Is there anything I need to... add to my house? That okay, stove and a chimney. Yes, so I'm looking for a pet. And go to Claude's house. The town is beginning to return. I quite like the fact you can restore the town. This is actually really nice, the way it's slowly building. We're slowly getting the people back and being able to talk to them. Oh, there's another item there. Bread acquired. I do also like Rogue Galaxy as well. That I've really enjoyed from level 5, and Nino Kun. Oh, can we get cheese now? Yes, cheese acquired. I did Dark Chronicles as a kind of follow-up to this. I mean, Level 5 did a lot of good games on the PS2, and then I've subsequently done a lot of very, very good games. Okay, I'm going to chat to you. So we're beginning to get the town back together now. Although I'm not sure which way does the sun come in when it's morning. That I'm not too sure. I'll get some resupplies. Purchase the items from... Oh, now that Gaffer's open. I see, so it's probably better to not complete Gaffer straight away, actually. Oh, soap releases us from the gooey condition. That's annoying that I'm going to have to start buying items because you don't get that much in the way of cash. So if I was doing this in hindsight, I'd probably build the old Gaffer last, so that way you can restock from the chieftain for as long as possible. You don't need to get much money as well. I seem to have to what's the standing powder? Okay, there's not much point in me having that. I might as well sell the standing pounder at present. Because I don't yet have a standing character, that costs 50. I'm going to have to buy 80 for antidotes. Okay, that's really... Yeah. If I was redoing this, don't complete Gaffer for a while. So it's morning and we can venture, so items. I don't like the way I am slowly building the town though, so we've got the pond there. Oh, you can actually fish, but we don't have a fishing pole, so that's what the pond's for. Definitely some inspiration from Zelda in this. So the negative on this stage isn't too bad. It actually basically means I lose my experience point for the weapon, which is not a real loss. It just means this floor I can't gain experience. But that's interesting, the fact we have limit zones that basically do challenges. It's a nice idea, actually. I've not seen it in too many other Mystery Dungeon games. Although, to be fair, I haven't actually played a huge amount of Mystery Dungeon games. I've played a lot of sort of modern indie ones that weren't bad, and I think probably the one I spent the most time with was the Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, which I did really enjoy. Although we did actually get the one, is it Fushoyu dungeon on the N64 the other week, so... Okay, that's quite helpful, the magic crystals, that shows me where... I will probably explore this floor and then I will probably... that's what I don't like. That's right, I couldn't buy... The poison was 80, it was really expensive. Page's house, okay. I'm really hoping to get lucky with some items. I want to get off this limit floor as fast as possible, so... Hoping one of them might give me a potion. Okay, so I need to... I'm nearly... My thirst is... Getting thirsty. The last enemy finally gave us the key. Okay. Okay, it's nice to actually see where we've got with the town building. That is where I'm going to wrap it up. As you can see there, we actually have quite a few of the houses back in the town so far. So, and this is only the start of the game, but it is. Just replace the save file. Should say always save on additional files, but I'm being a bit cheeky. Dungeon 8 times. I've said so many times. Yeah, basically being a bit lazy with saves. Basically being a bit tight on the save space. But yes, we have the town steadily returning to life, and it's quite nice to see and build it back. With the various characters. We climb the watchtower, but we can't. And day turns to dusk. Okie dokie. So I will pause it there as we take one final run around the town. So yeah, I think it's a nice little game. Certainly quite nice to see the village build up as the time goes on. So thank you all for being part of this and watching this randomised gaming stream. I've been your random gamer host, randomised gaming host, Random Gamer Riven. This has been Dark Cloud, developed by Level 5, published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, or Sony Computer Entertainment, or I think it's Sony Interactive Entertainment now. And this was initially released in Japan in 2000 before being released in Europe and North America in 2001. A very early PS2 game, but actually a very good one. Certainly one if you had a PS2 when it came out. It was probably what I'd describe as an essential purchase. So this has been Dark Cloud, and I've been your host for this randomised gaming stream, Random Gamer Riven. So I wish you a good night, a good evening, good morning, or a good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. What I will say, if you like this and you want to actually look at picking up a copy, you can grab a copy on the PlayStation 4, and it's only about £8. So if you want a digital copy, it's available on the PlayStation 4. I think the PS2 original, I don't think the PS2 version's that expensive, but the PS4 version just looks a bit cleaner. But if you do, so if you have a PlayStation 4, you can grab it on PS4, and of course, I think you may even be able to grab it on PS3. I know there's a few games available on PlayStation 3, but I'm not 100% sure. But definitely this one is available on PlayStation 4. It's certainly worth investing if you like RPG building. So that's it from me. I will wish you a good night, a good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. I think I've already done that, but that's it. See you all next week, and have a good weekend, everyone.